Welcome back, FHSU Online Honor Society members. Yesterday we had a lot to talk about with regards to engagement points, cords and t-shirts, and overall the membership requirements outlined in the bylaws. The background is provided in the chat, and essentially many students have expressed a concern about they were not given appropriate notice for engagement point requirements. What that means is when we signed up for the club, some of us found out later on about the engagement point 5-point requirement. And that has drawn a lot of concern about how do I accomplish this? How do I keep track of my points? And we've received the executive team has received overwhelming requests for tracking points and types of engagement points required. And it's just come to the conclusion that this has been a burden for both the executive leadership and for yourself. So we looked at the bylaws yesterday evening. And in the bylaws, we want to look first at the purpose. So if you missed the meeting yesterday evening, the purpose or the mission for the Honor Society is to provide support, opportunity, and recognition for accomplished students. In other words, their high-achieving membership seeks to facilitate active change for the benefit of FHSU University and networking a diverse and accomplished student. And that's a unified objective. So we better ourselves and we better our community. And we create the Honor Society creates innovative programs, resources, and activities that inspire students of all disciplines to explore academic potential. So essentially the engagement points were a requirement to help us fulfill the needs of our purpose, showcase what we are able to do as an honor student to the rest of the community, and provoke them to do better too. Now, that's supposed to extend into membership, and we know these requirements going into it were acknowledged. The 3.8 GPA got us in, and then thereafter you have to maintain a 3.6 GPA. And of course, there's some requirements on attendance if you're a full-time or part-time student, and you could read that here. But in regards to requiring the meetings have always been optional. They are held bi-weekly, every other Tuesday, and as stated, it's using a platform during a time that works best for most members. So we made it optional. The one thing is, if you can't attend the meetings, you have 5 engagement point requirement that needs to be done per each semester. So you can not attend the meetings essentially and obtain engagement points through volunteer work, sharing your experience on social media, connecting with other students over social media, and so forth. We sent out a form that would allow you to track your point, or that would allow you to submit your points. But due to some technical limitations, we cannot show you what your active points are, and it's a large burden on the executive teams, myself specifically, is to take 100 plus members and then tabulate all their points and respond to them. And so overwhelmingly, I've been getting emails daily asking how many points. And for me, I'm still a student full time, and I have to be able to entertain my coursework. And if I can't do that, then I won't even essentially be here as a student. I would fail. So I have to delegate the task very strictly. And it gets to be to a point where I said, okay, let's just look at the points at the end of the semester. But I still have communicated that in the meetings that we would look at it then, and in the Google chat. But a lot of folks still ask me. So I'm assuming they're not attending the meetings, or they're not reading the chat, or both. So it's left me to ask, maybe this requirement is a large burden on you. And we held a meeting last night asking just that. Are these engagement points asking too much of you? And if so, should we remove the engagement point requirement? So in short, through a 3/4 majority vote of attending members, we voted unanimous nearly. Let me go back through here. to amend the bylaws so that we clearly indicate the requirements of the Honor Society membership. So in other words, we're going to suspend the current requirement for engagement points. So if you already completed them, that's great. If you didn't complete them, well, now you have a little bit of breathing room to figure out, okay, doesn't mean we're going to do away with it. We're suspending it until we adopt more appropriate language about what should be a requirement. Should it be meeting attendance? Should it be engagement points? Or maybe it's optional altogether. So this is suspended, and right now we're going to work on making clear language in the active bylaws collectively from you. So in other words, you may have joined this organization and you had thought it was going to be less rigid, and it turns out it may have been more of a burden for you to make the meetings and or fulfill the engagement point requirement. And that's not our intent. Our intent is to be productive, still succeed in class, not create a stress for you to have to figure out, will I be a part of this organization if I don't fulfill something? So as it states right now, there is a student organization handbook. And so if we visit this handbook, we have to consider, okay, what are the requirements for volunteer work? Because that's where it gets a little bit unsure. So if I type in the word volunteer, it says here that we have to attain 20 documented office hours of community service per each organization. There's one drawback of this. We are an online presence. So the difference between an online student and on-campus student differs greatly, especially when it comes to volunteer activities. For example, we don't have access to volunteering for 40 days at the fort, the Friends and Family Day, Homecoming Parade, the big volunteer event that we have annually at the end of the year. So that prevents us from being able to enforce these volunteer activities for online members, such as the Virtual Student Senate and the Web Development Club, who already works closely with student engagement, have no requirements for volunteer work for online members. And that's not to say if you're an on-campus student, you get out of it. It just means that it's a different culture. It's a different need that we have as an online member. So we suspended the engagement points for that reason. What's next is we need to work together to revise the membership requirement for the section in the FHHS Fort Hays Honor Society bylaws. Now this may take, I anticipate, 2 to 4 weeks, but it depends on you. So essentially, I'm going to put a template together in the chat with your access granted to view and make comments to what the new requirements for online members should look like. And at our January 10th meeting, hopefully we can come to sort a resolution on the membership requirements for online members. And we submit that to the executive team for their review. Again, this will take a 3/4 majority vote for active attending members. So what that means is just attend the meeting and you vote, and then that will make the determination if it's a requirement, an option, or what does that language look like for membership. So I'm going to ask you to do your best to try to schedule some sort of time to make time for the Google chat and providing your feedback. Some of you have maybe not even attended a single meeting, but the initial meeting, I don't know. So it's important that you engage in this because we want you as a member. We don't want it to be a burden for you. And as it stands right now, shirts and cords have been a big difficulty to get fulfilled or sent out to you. So what is going on with that is we're trying to work a way where we can maybe have an avenue where you get the Adobe Illustrator file or the insignia file, whether JPEG, Illustrator, whatever it is for that insignia, that logo, sent where any of us could take it to our own printing service and have our own custom orders provided. So in other words, we don't have to reach out to the executive team to track an order, or maybe you don't like the shirt design or it's taking too long to get. So if you've already paid for the shirt and cord, you're still entitled to all that. This is just something to supplement if you wanted a polo shirt and we don't sell it or offer it, well, now you could take that insignia to your local printing service, or on the internet anywhere, and then you can use that insignia to make your own customized order. That could be a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a polo shirt, pin, jacket, you name it. So giving you free access at no cost to that insignia to take to your own advantage how you want to use it. And as far as cords, that could be customized too on your end. So that way it's more flexible for you to decide when and how you get your apparel or your attire. So in terms of membership, we've also noticed in the beginning of the year, you are charged $20. And part of that goes toward your cord, your t-shirt, and your membership dues that help keep the organization running. But as an online club and on campus has more extensive availability to help coordinate the delivery cords and t-shirts. And we need to look as that is, should we have a requirement, and does it make sense to ask for membership dues if we can just take the insignia after we've been accepted into the club and get our own printing done or our own t-shirt made? So I'm going to ask you to provide feedback at our next meeting on what should we do with t-shirt and cords moving forward. Again, if you already ordered yours, you're still entitled to it. You're not having to pay anything extra. It's just supplementing additional ways that you can get your own printing done for yourself so you could track your order and so on. So in summary, we're going to vote at the next meeting about t-shirts and cords. How should we delegate if we should ask for a membership fee for online students only? And if we don't, we would provide you with the insignia to get those cords and t-shirts or apparel on your own, all free to get the insignia. Okay. And then I'll encourage you to go through the chat and read what we're trying to do with the active bylaws for membership requirements. Do you want engagement point requirement to still be active, or do you want to revise it as an option only? And if we do make it an option, what should be the membership requirements? Attending the meetings regularly, 80% attendance, should it be, there is no requirement. Once you get in the club, you're in the club. You just got to maintain your GPA and everything's optional. So that means 3.6 GPA after you get in. And then finally, we said with a 3/4 majority vote, all this can be done. So in January 10th, we have the language adopted. We can get that approved. If it gets approved, we present it to the executive team. Now, I'm hoping all of you can engage in some sort of way in this change, this revision to the bylaws, because it's important that it works for you. So reach out to the chat, not me, because everyone's working on this together, and provide your ideas. And we'll take a vote through a Google form to make our determination what the language looks like, what the rules look like moving forward, and then we'll vote on it at the next meeting, January 10th. So we got basically about a month to do this. That's the goal. I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for bearing with us through this tough time. Have a wonderful Christmas season, as well as grades are pretty much coming up. Finals week, we're 2 days left. So I congratulate you for making through your attendance and providing your feedback. And for those who haven't been able to be there, we understand. We want to make this flexible for you. You've already earned yourself into the club, and I want to make, we want to make the experience cater to your needs, because we know everyone has different needs as an online student. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.